Hi there, great to have you with us once again. This is Leading Edge. I'm your host, Jeff Smith. Coming up in just a few minutes, I went out and I talked to a representative from LegalZoom this week. It's because we know there are a lot of you out there who may be kicking the tires on starting a business, maybe from home, in 2025. So we wanted to ask some questions about the checklist you should have in front of you before you start doing something like that. But first, since the Clinton administration back in the mid-1990s, Sylvania, Ohio has had the same man in charge. Mayor Craig Stough spent 29 years at the helm, calling it quits late last year with one year left on his term. Enter the picture, Mark Frye, Sylvania City Council president for the last few years and a Sylvania resident for the last 20, now taking the reins for at least the next 300 plus days. Great. Mark joining us here in studio. Congratulations. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
And I want to share with our viewers, truth be told, you're a Penn State University graduate, proud alum.
I am.
The Nittany Lions playing tonight. We are taping on Thursday. You are avoiding the game at all costs.
And hopefully my family's not sending me too many text messages of what's going on.
And
yeah.
by the time this airs, we will have known the outcome.
Absolutely.
I got to ask you, as a Penn State fan, what is your mind saying about the possibility of it being a Big Ten national championship?
I'd love to see it. I think it would be great for the Big Ten. I think a lot of people who've been loving on the SEC for so many years.
There it is.
I'm sorry. I just look at it and say that's fine and everything, but yeah. I look at Big Ten football and say this is as good as it gets. There's great teams all over the country, but I think the Big Ten has as good or better, and I think the results this year speak loudly for that.
It's been fun to watch. I'm an Indiana grad, so we were playing with house money all year, being a part of it.
But what's interesting about that is you have a great coach. Yeah. He knows how to win. He creates a disciplined environment. He brings a bunch of young guys in and veteran guys, and he mixes them together, and he created,
new NFL.
He created dynamite. I'm telling you, it was very impressive. Very impressive.
Let's talk about you becoming mayor of Sylvania, and I want to talk a little bit. Craig, obviously, being in the position he was for almost 3 decades, and
right.
You as council president watching from afar. Did you know this was coming? Because he steps away a year before. He had probably one of the closest elections he's had in all his time as mayor of Sylvania this last go-around. He steps away a year early. Did you know that was coming? And I guess what were your preparations for it?
I didn't know it was coming. I mean, I had conversations with Mayor Stough about the possibility. He wanted to make sure that I was sitting in on staff meetings and the like in case this would occur. But, you know, up until shortly before he indicated to the public that this was going to happen, he had not said anything to me specifically about resigning at this point.
If you don't need to share your resume with anybody out there, viewers, but what do you bring to the table, Mark?
Well, I've got 10 years on council. I've been 4 years as president of council. I've run my own small business for over 30 years, successful small business here in the Toledo area. And I've expanded that quite a bit over the years with help from some of my partners. I spent 12 years on the Board of Developmental Disabilities, with 6 years as president of that. I was appointed by the Board of County Commissioners in that regard. 6 years on the lot board prior to that, president of my church council, a bunch of other stuff like that. But I've been engaged in the community in lots of different ways over the years.
Not a fair assessment to say that Sylvania's on autopilot.
No, I don't think so. I think there's always stuff that's happening positively in the community. Lots of great things are going on. Sylvania is a place that people want to come to. They've got great school. We've got great schools to live and work and enjoy our community. And my objective is just to try to continue to move the process forward. That
moment when you're standing there and you take the oath, talk about that a little bit, because obviously we see it from afar.
Sure.
It's pomp and, you know, it's procedural. We see that. However, for you, what did it mean?
It meant a lot. I have the opportunity to basically be mayor for a year, prove to the general public, the citizens of Sylvania, that I deserve the job, and they're going to, you know, rule on that report card come November. Yeah. Because I'm obviously planning on running.
Well, I guess we just broke news right
there.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm planning on running. I wouldn't have agreed to become president of council, recognizing that this was the possibility down the road. You never know. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow, and nobody is. Yeah. And so I've got to be prepared to step up and be president of council. If I'm going to do that, I've got to be ready to be mayor too.
So how do you treat this year? I mean, is it an audition for you? Are there things you've got a checklist where you say, I've got to knock these off so that I can put a better, I guess, resume together for the voters of Sylvania?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of these decisions that have been made to redo the downtown over the next couple of years, to look at the bridge deck, to increase the safety coming off of Route 23 coming on into our community, which is a substantial project, well over $30 million of investment into our community over the next few years. So I'm involved, and I haven't been leading that. Obviously, the mayor and the administrative staff leads that effort, but I'm involved in that regard. I look at this and say, this is an important opportunity for the community. Obviously, I've been in this job for about a week now, so I'm still getting my feet wet. Yeah. I mentioned to somebody the other day, this is kind of like taking a drink of water from a fire hose and trying not to get wet. Yeah. Lots of stuff to learn, and know a lot, but there's still lots of things that are going on, and I'm enjoying the opportunity to learn those things.
A number of things I want to touch on when we come back in our next segment. Can you stick around?
Absolutely.
All right, Mark Frye joining us, new mayor of Sylvania. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back here on Leading Edge. Once again, Mark Frye, new mayor of Sylvania, at least for the next 300 plus days.
Right.
And then you get into an actual election season.
Yep.
Where you're going to be running for the position. You just talked about that in our first segment. A couple of things in the news I want to bring up to you now that you are mayor, and somebody I wanted to get some answers on some of the things that have been publicized. One of which, Toledo Blade comes out with an article reading, City of Trees now featuring dozens of stumps. We went out there and we shot it this week. I want to show some of that aerial footage that we got. They're talking about the area, the exit off 23 right there, Monroe Street. And what we see is basically this was full of evergreens. Mark, we went out there during winter seasons when we got a lot of snow, and it was a beautiful backdrop for our live shots.
Absolutely.
You said you're getting grief from your wife about this and what's happened.
Right.
What do you know about what the state has done here and anything that they're going to do to right it?
Well, it's important to understand
this is a big project.
It's well over $30 million investment to redo those lanes. A lot of it has to do with safety. People coming off of 23 going north and jumping onto 23 going south. We've had people slide in, have accidents frequently. If you've ever been on that exit, you've seen those scrape marks on the road. These are on both sides. Yeah. These things are going to get repaired, and it's going to look great when it's finished. But any construction, you've got to do some stuff in advance. Unfortunately, the way this works is there's federal money attached to some of these dollars that are coming back to our community, and there's bats and other types of things that are endangered species or protected species. Yeah. And when they come and they nest in the middle of March, and they don't leave until the middle to the end of October, you're not allowed to cut those trees down. Mm-hmm. So the state of Ohio has a policy. They come in and they basically have a window after that season's over, but before the next nesting season starts, and they take trees down where they know there's going to be a project come in. This is a state project. Unfortunately, in our case, it was done early on in that window, right. And they've left the tree stumps. I don't know if did you see the Lorax?
Yes.
There was saw the Lorax. My wife has gotten on my case. I've had a lot of people from my church that have asked me about it. But the important thing is twofold. It's going to increase the safety for our citizens and our visitors, number one. And number two, one of the things that after I basically was sworn in, I thought to myself, we need to replace these trees. So I've talked to the Director of Public Service to basically start to look at, okay, how many trees have been cut down? Yeah. Where can we replant trees? We're a tree city. Yeah. We're going to replant some of those trees, and obviously it's not the same as cutting mature trees down. Right. But when you replant trees over time, that will help our community. Some of the growing pains that go along with it, and obviously you got a lot of guff when Monroe Street and the cemetery and all that went through as well. Sure. I got to ask you about the Dana Open. Loss of the LPGA Tour event is a blow for Toledo, but credit tireless Judd Silverman for fighting on. While you lose the tournament, that was a Blade article by Dave Briggs. While you lose that tournament out at Highland Meadows, they're trying to bring something else. But you talk about visitors to the town and what that has meant for 40 years to Sylvania. It's been phenomenal having all those people come into town to get a look at our downtown, to get a look at how we engage with the community and to enjoy one of the finest golf courses not just in Northwest Ohio, but the entire state of Ohio.
Yeah.
It's an incredible golf course. You've probably played it.
But were you guys promised, and I don't know if you were part of the discussions, that you'll get an apples to apples comparison to what is being brought in, 2 tournaments versus 1 tournament?
Not really. I mean, I wasn't involved in those conversations, and I don't know that the mayor was either. Obviously, the judge is doing the best he can to try to bring that in, but a lot of it boils down to sponsorships. You have to have corporate level sponsorships of a sizable enough amount to make the math pencil out, to get a purse big enough for the players to want to come in and attract those kinds of players, and then get the people to come in and follow.
Yeah, the last couple of things I wanted to ask about, Lourdes University, there has been such growth, obviously, from the time it was just a convent on that campus.
Right.
It was trying to create more of a college atmosphere. Do you continue that in your administration?
Oh, absolutely. First of all,
How? I guess.
I think we just want to be available and be a partner, and have Dr. Bissett provide us and his team provide us with, hey, how can we help you? In the end, a lot of that really boils down to their efforts and all.
Craig talked about Sylvania becoming a college town.
Absolutely.
Did it reach that?
I don't know. Maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Dr. Bissett may disagree with me, but we're trying to integrate them, and I know that we've got some efforts trying to bring the students into the downtown footprint, and that. I have to say, though, my wife's a professor at the university, so I'm a biased observer a little bit. But yeah, I think Lourdes is a phenomenal partner in our community.
In our last minute, what is the future in your mind as far as 2025 in Sylvania is concerned?
I think 2025, we got lots of great stuff happening. It'll be a little congested in the downtown footprint, but we've got tons of projects going on, lots of stuff, concerts, fireworks display, probably 25,000 people come to our July 3rd fireworks display. It's a great time. If you happen to be available and you want to see a great display on the 3rd, it's a great time. We're looking forward to that this year. Lots of good stuff happening. Our schools remain phenomenal, and lots of productivity going on in our community.
Are you campaigning now, or the campaign starts later this year?
Got the campaign hat on. No, that was the campaign hat.
That was the campaign hat that's already on.
Sorry.
We don't have any babies here for you to kiss.
Well, that's
we
okay.
apologize.
That's okay.
Mark, congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Jeff.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. Are you or somebody you know considering launching a new business this year? The new year is the most popular time to start. In fact, 30% of new businesses kick it off in the first quarter. LegalZoom's Erin Mrozek, she says if you've been kicking the tires on it, now may be the time.
In 2019, prior to the pandemic hitting us, we just weren't virtual. We weren't as digital as we are today, and now we really are. So we've seen small business growth at 55% since then, and a lot of that is because of this virtual world where people can work from home and do this. And so I really believe that getting that business off the ground is easier and more cost effective than ever before. So if that is a resolution, give it a go.
But are there those ideas that somebody should maybe stray from and maybe focus on the micro of, yeah, I can get this going here in short term? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so are there small businesses that might be more complex than others, are you saying?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the industry that you're going into, obviously some have a lot of upfront costs, whereas others don't. So if you're talking about an industry where you on your own can do this, especially if you can do it from home, consultancy, real estate, side gigger, rental property owner, content producer, all of those, really, there's no reason not to give it a go. You don't have a lot of overhead to think about. If you're looking to create, a clothing line or a food line, you really need to have a strong business plan to make sure that those upfront costs are worth your while.
So I guess that gets us into our next topic, is people not seeing the forest for the trees as far as costs, as far as the legal ramifications of starting all this. So what are the boxes you have to check off if you're starting a new business from a legal standpoint?
Yeah, so at LegalZoom, we found 5 steps that we recommend, and I'll run through them real quick. First, business plan. Like we were saying, put it on pen and paper. Is there a line of sight to profitability? If so, green light, keep going. Second, you need a name. And you have to make sure that that name is available. Is that domain available? Are the social handles available? Have you run a trademark search so that you can use that name? Third, pick the type of entity that makes the most sense for the business you're creating. Whether that's a really complex corporation because you intend to have shareholders and you want to have a lot of employees, or middle of the road an LLC, which is the majority of formation entity types we see, where you want that barrier between your personal assets and your business assets, or the really easy thing, sole proprietorship. No tax implications, but also no liability protection. Fourth, now that you figured that out, form your business. Go online, fill out the questionnaire, and make it official. Fifth, make sure you have your compliance in order. Depending on your industry, you might have different licenses, permits, documents, insurance that you need. If you follow those 5 steps, you have a very strong chance of hitting the ground running.
When you go out to a restaurant, you search it online, you see dollar signs telling you how much menu items typically are. Are there startup costs that are just window ballpark that people should be thinking, okay, I'm going to spend this much? Or is there a figure in your mind at LegalZoom where you say, okay, you've really spent way too much?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are individuals out there who feel really comfortable and they are ready to just DIY it, and they don't need very much handholding, and they're planning to, fill out all the paperwork and get it done. They're probably going to spend in the low couple $100 range. Then there's individuals that are like, this is my first time. I really want to talk to an attorney. I really want to talk to a CPA. I really want to make sure that I have all of this in order. I'm not willing to use an online platform. They're going to be in the thousands. And so what we have found is that we've tried to find a middle ground where those who are ready to DIY can do it in a very affordable fashion. And those that want a low cost flat rate attorney by their side can have that at LegalZoom in the hundreds, not thousands, hundreds, so that it makes it more affordable and less cost prohibitive, and you can get all of the questions that you need answered.
How do you get somebody over that fear, that intimidation of DIYing it and doing it online?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we really encourage our small business customers to ask questions. So whether you want to use chat or you want to call in and talk to a small business specialist, we are constantly fielding questions. And if those questions become legal in nature, we give you access to attorneys at a flat rate so that you can ask whatever questions that you might have, because we know this can be complicated. And so not only is there human support available to you, but we have a ton of video tutorials and educational materials on the website so that you can read about it and you can understand what makes the best sense for me. And that can build your confidence so that you can be one of those DIY people.
Do you guys break into, okay, let's say you break from the brick and mortar and you want to start an at-home business, and all of a sudden you give up your insurance that company is offering. So how does somebody go about investigating that? Needing somebody needs healthcare, right, in your household. How do you go about kind of learning that quickly and making sure that that's covered?
Yeah, really great question. So let's say that you have left your full-time employment and now you do need personal insurance, not even business insurance. You really want to reach out to insurance providers, in your area and understand how much will it cost to provide my own personal insurance, home insurance, renter's insurance, whatever that may be. Quite often we have some form of an insurance provider, whether it's car, home, rental property, and more often than not, they can either put you in contact with the healthcare provider or provide healthcare insurance as well. So make sure that you have that in order if you are going to take the plunge and leave your company.
Erin, we got a few minutes left. Talk about how many I know you started talking about at-home businesses and how they've just taken off since the pandemic. Also, female-owned businesses. You got some statistics on that?
Yeah, so like I said, in the recent study that we did, 70% of these small business owners said that they are running it from their home. And really cool, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics indicated that last year, 2024, 43% of self-employed small businesses were female-owned, the highest number ever. And so I really believe that with this move to a virtual society, whether these females are, already having a full-time job or they're stay-at-home moms, they have ideas, they have passions, and because they have this opportunity to do it from home in a really cost-effective manner, they're able to actually take that leap. And so we're seeing it at such a really high trend, and it's really exciting. I just started a small business a couple months ago, and I intend to keep my full-time job, but it allows me to explore a passion and another revenue stream that I otherwise wouldn't have done. So if you're thinking about it, like, there's nothing stopping you.
What is the success rate of those who start in the first year? And what is the retention?
Yeah, so when we look at, not our data, but at the government's data, usually success rate in the first year is 55%. And so that will vary depending on the industry and the type of business and whether they had a really well-vetted business plan. But usually those that have a well-vetted business plan have a higher chance of success than those that haven't really thought about the numbers before they got started.
You talked about the legal ramifications, but if you were to school somebody on, okay, here's the first 3 or 4 things you need to do to start a business, you would tell them what?
I would say look at the market. Is there someone in the market already selling this product or service? And if so, do you think that you have an opportunity to disrupt that market, either through price or features and benefits? And do you believe that your service could really play alongside that player? If so, how much can you do it for? Can you afford to bring this to life? Do you have the money to build out that product or service? Do you have the money to advertise that product or service? If you do, then really get your business set up with the right branding. Get your name in order, get your website in order. If people are supposed to come and find you on your website, work with a professional. Make sure that you've got all of these assets in a great way so that you are ready to go.
Perfect stuff. And if people want to find out more information, where should we send them?
LegalZoom.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for being a part of Leading Edge. It's great always to have you with us. And a reminder, if you missed any part of our conversation this week, or you want to share our other episodes with your friends, check us out on WTOL 11+. I'm Jeff Smith. We'll see you next time on Leading Edge.